Good morning. Welcome to the wake up call with myself and Alex. How's everyone feeling out of 10?
Got my workout in. Did
Oh
some
yeah.
deadlifts. 10 out of
Uh,
10 out of 10. Any day you can do deadlifts is a 10 out of 10.
I love me some deadlifts. I hit a PR yesterday actually.
Nice.
Someone literally like grabbed me and was like, "How much weight was that?" Oh my god, bro, chill.
Nice.
All right, let's get into it, everyone. This is the show where we go over the crypto news and analysis and our weird takes. That's not your screen, Alex.
That's not my screen. Come on, man.
And I'm just the hostess with the mostest.
All right. So this is the same chart that I showed last week. It is on the weekly, and this is still my projection. And we're still, we're following along still. I mean, it's weekly candles, so I mean, it's not like we're going to see any kind of deviation anytime soon. I still, again, I want to reiterate the difference between myself and Devin is simply that I believe we have a spring in front of us, and I am open to the possibility that we bottomed, but I think we have one more lower low and not a big lower low. And in fact, I'm going to make a revision to this projection. And it's simply I'm getting rid of the lower estimate. And I want to explain why. So I read a report, the Fidelity 2026 Crypto Outlook Report. And so this is less TA and more of a focus on what's going on with miners right now. I think this is kind of an under the radar thing that's happening with Bitcoin miners. Throughout Bitcoin's history, Bitcoin miners were only able to be profitable in one way, and that was by mining Bitcoin. What a shocker, right? Well, with this AI boom and this need for AI data centers, Bitcoin miners actually have two means of making money right now. And that is huge in terms of what this quote unquote bear market is going to look like. Because every bear market ends every time with a miner capitulation. And Bitcoin miners, the clearest period that this happened was in 2018. At the end of 2018, Bitcoin spent, it first bounced off of $6,000 in February of 2018, and then just kept on bouncing off that level for the entire year, basically, and finding, weaker and weaker support there until it just lost that level in a major way. And that loss was miners capitulating. The squeeze got too tight. Hash rate rose. The cost of mining Bitcoin kept increasing while their margins kept decreasing. And then on average, I mean, I'm sure there were still some miners that were profitable at $6,000 Bitcoin in 2018, but they were forced to sell. And when that floor was lost, it was lost in a major way. People were panicking. Oh no, it's over. Bitcoin's dead. And no, that was actually the end. That was actually the best possible time to buy Bitcoin ahead of the next bull run, And so what happens this time around if miners have more than one way of making money? They don't have to capitulate at the end. This does not happen. This last loss of the flush out at the end doesn't happen. Miners have other options. If like IREN is a big one, a big public miner, publicly traded miner. Riot Blockchain is another one. They have other options now. And so, what's up?
Well, I was just gonna say, just to add to your point, because I have experience in the forte of mining.
Yes.
I personally did not feel the 2022 bear market for a second until Ethereum switched from proof of work to proof of stake. That was the first time I actually personally felt the bear market. And then also, I would say when you look at where you were just looking at in 2017, 2018, like I think it's like the miners back then were more akin to me of like some guy in his basement with a bunch of computers filled up, where now the miners are literally on like publicly traded companies.
Yeah.
So it's literally a completely different ball game that we're playing. But go ahead to continue. That's just my 2 cents on the mining, since I have
Yeah. And so the same thing happened in 2022. That was the end of the bear market. But if I were to pull up something called the PUL multiple, I'm not going to do it right now, but the PUL multiple is an indicator that shows how profitable miners are. In 2018, it aligned perfectly with that capitulation that I showed. In 2022, it was a little more nuanced, where it was like an initial capitulation in I think it was in June of 2022, and then the final capitulation in November. And I mean, what if XTX doesn't collapse? Let's just say, give that what if scenario. I think the bottom would have been that first capitulation would have been the capitulation in 2022. Moving forward to today, without a minor capitulation at the end, I already am of the mindset, I think this is just a logical mindset to conclude, that we are not going to have nearly as deep of a bear market if this is a bear market. I know that we have different opinions on on what this time period is now, like lots of people, not just me and you, Devin, but we're already of the mindset that this bear market is not going to be as bad as other bear markets in terms of a percentage drop. Without minor capitulation, it causes it to even be less of a painful bear market. And so that's why that's entirely why I deleted. Please stop talking about he on TikTok. We'll get to that in event at a point, but you're spamming the chat on TikTok. We'll get to that, where we just started this live stream. Okay. So without that minor capitulation, I am now, instead of a move down to the 200-week moving average, which would be around $65,000 when we get there. This move down to basically where all that liquidity was built up in 2024 is my mindset. But that, again, that's really the difference between me and an all-out bull right now. An all-out bull says we've bottomed, and a bear would say that, and not a bear. Bears are probably saying that we're going down to 60 or 50, under 40 or under 50 or something like that. I've not been of that mindset this entire time, and I'm now especially not of that mindset. So, all right, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much. I think we have the same outcome. It's just you're open to the possibility that we're not going to get a spring, but your base is that we will. And
Yeah.
I'm open to the possibility that we get a spring, but my base is we will not.
Yes.
I think that's literally the only difference in our opinion. And I think, I don't know this next part, but for me, it's like either way, I think probably by the end of March, we're going to be, we'll have our answer.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So for me though, it's, it's all about the Russell. I keep talking nonstop about the Russell. We were talking about the Russell last week.
You got to switch.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's not letting me. Here we go. Yeah, I've been talking about the Russell just nonstop. We were talking about it last week. I made a full video breakdown on the Russell. And quickly, just to recap, the very oversimplification, where does liquidity come from? It comes from the distribution of one asset to another. That is oversimplification. And in our case, it generally goes from gold to the Russell. During the distribution of gold, you start to see the Russell break out. And during the distribution of the Russell, we start to see crypto break out. Again, that's an oversimplification. There's nuances to it. But it's just so that I'm saying it in this way so that everyone can understand. In my opinion, gold is 3/4 of the way done distributing. And we know this because silver is absolutely on a tear. We talked about the buying climax back in October, I sold 40% of my gold, and I made the case then. Alex is my witness,
Yeah.
that we would probably get it. Like, I'm not expecting a pin blow off top. We'll probably get a UT or a UTAD all the way up as high as 4,700. But, and I drew this out, back in October. I said, we'll probably get something like this. And we're seeing major bearish divergences happening. And the real reason that I know that this is probably 3/4 of the way done distributing, probably about to round the corner to phase C or phase D, is because silver, when we look at the same time frame, like silver is basically in an alt season. If gold is to Bitcoin, then silver is to the altcoins. This was the buying climax back in October. Silver was at $50, and then the UT. This is distribution. So where does liquidity come from? It comes from the distribution of one asset to another. We're seeing copper, we're seeing other things really start to take off. Same thing again, bearish divergences on the bigger time frames. This could probably get to 107. My target was 78. I've already sold 70%, full knowing that it can go to 107,000 or
$107.
107. No. So I think it's probably about 1/3 of the way done distributing. But what we're seeing, though, is the Russell. And like, I've been just talking about this like ad nauseum. I put a tweet out on January 3rd. I said we've been following it. Last week we had not quite broken out. I think we were in the 250s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly what the price was, but I can look actually.
Yeah, it's following that fractal beautifully, man.
Yeah, so this is a clean breakout. This is what I tweeted about on Twitter here. I said, the Russell has been following this candle for candle breakout from the C19. If in mid-January it puts in a new all-time high, that will be confirmation. After price discovery and distribution is when things get crazy. And when I made this post, you can see the price was $248. So it wasn't like, this is, me looking behind or whatever, in hindsight or whatever. I've been talking about this fractal since before the October crash, actually. But we are now, in my opinion, for the Russell, undeniably in price discovery at this point.
Yeah.
This is no longer like we have clearly, the train has left the station. We are a full leg higher at this point. It's in the most bullish posture on the daily. It's, it followed this literally to a T, almost candle for candle. And so to me, that is another confirmation of, hey, gold is distributing into the Russell, is breaking out. And the one thing that has not taken place, that took place in 2017 and in 2021, and I made a video, if you care about crypto, you should care about the Russell. Because the one thing that has not happened in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, that happened in 2017 and in 2021 was the Russell went into price discovery and then went into distribution. It was during the distribution, not only was it correlated, not only was it part of the equation, it was the entire run. So listen, I'm not calling for a new all-time high tomorrow. I'm not saying any of these things. However, this is something that is different this time, that has not taken place, that has taken place every other time. And we're going to break it down one more time. Gold tops August of 20. You can see the total 3 is absolutely, utterly, ridiculously dead at the top of gold in 2020. August of 20. Let me line this up the best I can here. August of 20, absolutely, utterly, putridly dead for the altcoins. Okay. And then November of 20, you can see that is when the Russell starts to break out. Okay. This is when it first put in a new all-time high. Again, what do you see from the altcoins? I have it circled. Absolutely, utterly, putridly, disgustingly, bear market lowsly dead. Now, from the all-time high to the buying climax, there was a nice rally. Okay. And what am I talking about buying climax. I'm talking about distribution. Again, let me just try to save this picture because it's not going to let me show this thing here. Here we go. Let me pull this up. And then I'm going to switch what I am sharing. Perhaps. Replace sharing. What am I talking about? We're talking about this right here. What is distribution? You have your buying climax, your upthrust, your UTAD. That is textbook distribution. What did we get out of the Russell, and where does the I can do this so much quicker. Where does liquidity come from? It comes from the distribution of other assets. Okay, so here is the textbook. I just showed you the textbook distribution. You have your buying climax in February, your upthrust happens in June, and your UTAD happens in November. Now, when you look at this from the all-time high to the buying climax, the altcoins rallied a bit. It was a 2x, but in altcoin standard, nothing crazy, but a 2x realistically is pretty crazy. But from the buying climax to the upthrust, UTAD, not only was that correlated to the run, that was the entire run. The tippity-dippity top of the UTAD was the tippity-dippity top of the altcoin market. Like literally from breakout to UTAD, that was the whole run. Liquidity comes from distribution of other assets. And so this is a big deal because this is the first time that it's went into price discovery. So in my opinion, like whether we're in a bear market or not, whatever, we are way deeper into this than what people think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think, at worst, we're going to get a spring, probably to 75K, 70K, something like that. Like at worst, I'm open-minded to that, but I think it would be done before March. But I think that there's a decent chance that I know that this is the selling climax. But the question is like, are we going to get a, spring secondary test? I'm open to it, but that's not my base case. I think that, this is the highest volume that we've had since back over here before this breakout. On the RSI, on the daily chart, you can see we got all the way down to 13.75 on the daily. Again, that's lower than the February crash. That's lower than the August Japan rate cuts fiasco. That's the same as the 9/11 war in Israel, and it's the same as the Luna collapse. So that is a huge level, in my opinion, being that oversold. And then lastly, we talked about this briefly about us about to flip last week, but this is the first time we were in full bearish posture, 200 on top of 100 on top of 50 on top of 20. That is full bearish posture on the 5-hour chart. We have flipped bullish, and we have not done this where the 200 is on bottom, 100, then 50, then 20. This is full bullish posture on a bigger time frame. And in fact, the first time that this has happened since April, after the spring. And the reason I think that we're getting an LPS variation, here's what I think. If I were to put it in terms of Wyckoff, what I think is this is the spring variation where you have your selling climax secondary test spring, and then you have the other variation, which is an LPS variation. And I think that this selling climax was more violent. The one that happened here, it was much more violent than this. You got to think that, Binance's liquidity scam, that was, it was the highest liquidation ever in crypto. So I think that the selling climax went deeper than the secondary test, and we're already working on the LPS. And the reason I think this is you were grueling down and then you lost it, and you can see us testing the 100 all the way down to the secondary test. But when you look at us over here, it was the same distribution structure. When you lost it, though, we were testing the 20. Like, it
Yeah.
was very violent in that regard. But a lot of the same principles, like high volume shows up in here. You come back, then you make your big test to the 200, get rejection. The test on the 200 led into the spring. And then when you look over here, same thing. After the selling climax, you come up to the 200 rejection. And I think that this is the LPS. Because I think this is the secondary test and this is the LPS. And the reason that I think that is because this selling climax was more violent than it should have been. Now, after that, though, same thing. On the spring, you go above the 200 and then you back test it. And then you get this formation happening here where the 200 or the 20 crosses the 200, the 50 crosses the 200, and then you break out as the 100 is crossing. So when we look at it, again, breakout back test of the 200, we got that. Breakout back test of the 200, and then you get your flippening happening right now. So again, I'm not calling for a new all-time high. I'm not saying any of that. However, I think that if you're to, put me in a corner and ask me which is first, 69K or 130K, I think I would say 130K.
Okay.
That's what I think is, and I think 2026 is going to catch people off guard because everyone thinks that we're going to be bearish until October. And the one thing that has not happened that I keep going back to is the Russell. And I think that that's going to catch people off guard, big time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. I think 2026 is very much going to catch people off guard. I'm seeing, so like, man, going into 2024, going into 2025, it's like there's certain people that I hold in high regard that that were saying specific things about those 2 years that ended up not coming to fruition, and it was the same, all right, 2025 is going to be this mega bullish year, and I wanted to be with them. I wanted to just be unabashedly just like, all right, I'm all in with you guys. Let's do this. Let's ride. And there was always something inside of me that was holding back and being hopeful. And, not that I was perfect at all in 2025, but though I'm seeing the same playbook, but in the opposite direction right now. There's plenty of people on X, whatever, whose opinions I really respect. And I mean, one of them, I'll just give an example. I won't name him. Most of you probably don't even know who he is. He posted something like, here's the playbook for 2026. We're going to have one good month and then 3 months of down and then one good month and 3 months of down. And I'm sitting here like, no. Now this guy, he's really good at pivoting. So I'm looking forward to that pivot from him because I do really respect his opinion. So it's I think it is too difficult right now to declare anything as far as like the bottom is 100% in. And I know you would never say 100% for anything, but the bottom is in, or on the opposite, that we're going down, straight down to the bottom of the bear market in the fourth quarter of 2026. And the big thing is, all right, I mean, there's a lot of parallels right now structurally on the charts to that period in 2019 when Bitcoin rallied to $14,000 and then quantitative tightening came to an end. And a lot of indicators, a lot of monthly indicators that flashed bearish at that time that ended up not coming to fruition when the other times that they flashed bearish, they Bitcoin went straight down for several months. And so 2019 is often overlooked as a period that every rule that people say it has to happen this way, every rule was broken in 2019. And I see this as a very similar time period to 2019.
Well, what I keep saying too is like, if everyone was wrong in 2025, what in the world makes you think everyone's going to be right in 2026?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the last thing I'll say, kind of to your point of like how the game has evolved a little bit. Not that you explicitly said that, but Bitcoin has evolved for sure. The biggest bear case that I'm hearing, and I think Blockchain Backer has this viewpoint, and a lot of people have this viewpoint. First of all, people are saying that this is a Head and Shoulders, which people say that this is a Head and Shoulders, and then we're just off to Hades after that. Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. I've talked about this a lot. First of all, you can't call it a Head and Shoulders until the neckline is broken. But only once the neckline is broken, there's a 70% accuracy once the neckline is broken. The neckline has not been broken, so you can't even call this a Head and Shoulders. So that's number one. Number two, the blockchain backer has the opinion that, and a lot of people as well, that this is basically November was here. We're going to come up to the 200 and get rejected, right? That's the bear case. And I'll probably take a little bit of caution at the 200 around the 0.5, whatever. But my nephew actually asked me about Caspa the other day, and no one's asked me about Caspa in a little while. And I could make the case pretty strongly that the evolution of Bitcoin, like it literally is further ahead than the last cycle. And the point that I'm making is, has there been a structure of a coin that has done this same thing here? And I would say yes. Caspa went into distribution in November of 23, was the buying climax, the upthrust, the UTAD. This is distribution, your buying climax, and your upthrust in here. And then you have your markdown, you have your markdown, you have your big liquidation event here, your big liquidation event here. You come back up to the 200, you get rejected, only to lose it all one more time. So that is, when I saw this, I was like, wow, that is very interesting playbook here. So yeah, I don't think that Bitcoin has never behaved the same time twice as far as like how it topped, and I don't think it's going to this time either. And I think that this is a good representation of that. Like, hey, this coin already literally did that same playbook, and we're already past it.
What you're showing me right now is a key reason why, like, I've started not huge buys, but I sold most of my crypto in October, and I've started buying back in, and people ask me all the time, well, if you think we're gonna put in another lower low, why are you buying right now? Well, this Caspa chart is a prime reason why I'm buying right now. It's like I've paid attention to Caspa. That was a massive distribution. That was a 2-year distribution on Caspa. The distribution's over. It's like, I don't care about rules. There are coins that are breaking the rules, the so-called rules right now. You look at Monero, you look at, Bitcoin Cash is just looking structurally, it's just been very solid. Caspa does not have to, from here, go down 99%. That's absurd.
Right.
So yes, I will gladly buy some Caspa. I'll hold on to my Dynex. I will buy charts that still look like they're just an accumulation. And then there's what I'm really excited about right now is, like, there are now cryptos that if you a year ago or any time before a year ago asked me what's one, how many cryptos are you willing to hold on to forever? Or for how, for multiple years, at least, let's say for 5 years, my answer would have been Bitcoin, and that's it. Now, all right, I'm not interested in buying Monero right now.
No.
But Now Monero's on my radar as a cryptocurrency. I'm interested in buying at some point and holding for 5 years, for 10 years, something like that. There are other cryptos that are establishing themselves, and I think Bitcoin Cash is also one of them, as cryptos worth holding. Tron's another one. And Binance, BNB. It's despite the fact, you know, all right, maybe not Binance, but I'm okay. I'm okay operating differently right now than I've ever operated as a crypto holder.
Yeah, and I think it is different, and I think it'd be foolish to just sit here and think that it's gonna be the same every time and, you know, just never pivot. We had this one playbook that worked this one time, and we're gonna hold on to that until it swings back around. Like, I think that that'd be silly. Like, yeah, this looks like a bear market, guys. This looks like we're going 99% lower.
Yeah, I pointed out that that Monero. So Monero must not have all that terrible tokenomics, because the price hit the 1.618, and you're showing market cap also hitting 1.618.
Yeah, it's same as Bitcoin.
Okay.
The tokenomics are literally the same as Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't agree with a lot of our favorite buddy says.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Our biggest troll, and he's another creator.
All right, I have 3 people in my head.
Okay. The most vile and nasty of them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I don't agree with a lot of what he says. But one thing that he says that I do agree with, he says that Monero is what Bitcoin wanted to be.
And there's some truth to that in some regards. I talked about that in a short form video. I mean, Bitcoin Cash and Monero have aspects that you know, Bitcoin Cash is operating how Bitcoin intended to be. There are people using Bitcoin Cash as a peer-to-peer transacting network. Huh, interesting. Okay, Monero is what Bitcoin should have been from the beginning in terms of privacy. So, but I will always love Bitcoin over Monero and Bitcoin Cash, no doubt.
For sure. Yeah. I feel comfortable with, like, I think I can name, you know, 10 or 20 coins where I feel like, you know, if I have to hold this for 5 years, I think it's going to be okay. And I agree with you. Like in 2017, that definitely wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it was the case in 2021 either.
Yeah. Not for me.
No, not for me either. So listen, I'm cautiously, you know, excited. I think, I mean, dang, silver's down 3, 4. This was at 92. This is a pretty big, yeah, I think that silver is probably 1/3 of the way done distributing. That's my thoughts on that.
Someone asked me on my live stream the other day if they should sell all their XRP to buy silver. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh boy. Listen, do as they say in the army, they say do what your rank can handle. That's my thoughts. I have sold 40% of my XRP, and I have sold 70% of my silver. But I sold my XRP at $3.33. I haven't been selling XRP lately.
Yeah.
So that looks like peak euphoria is what that looks like.
Yeah, sure. You know, it can go higher. It can continue to go higher. My big thing is, you know, I looked at I made a video about silver, looked at the all-time chart, not all-time chart. I mean, that would go back thousands of years, but let's say, all right, last 60, 70 years, something like that. Anytime silver does this, what comes immediately after, whether silver peaks 3 months from now, today, 8 months from now, whatever, what comes after is a bore you to death chop until it goes down to, and the 200-week moving average has to catch up. The 200-week moving average is at $29 right now. So either silver after this is going to chop and bore you to death, and you're not going to be interested in silver, and that's going to happen for like a couple years, maybe 3 years, as we wait for the 200-week moving average to rise, or silver is going to dump and go down to the 200-week moving average.
I will say silver kind of is like XRP in that regard of like they behave the same of like just beat you to death with chop
Oh yeah.
of boredom, and then these violent explosive moves. It's never even gotten really a proper distribution. Like it's always kind of been a
Yeah.
pin top here. So maybe this is like the 2017 Bitcoin iteration, and maybe we get more of a distribution here. But it behaves similarly to XRP, where you have long chops and violent breakouts. I mean, this was like
Man.
50 years. Like if you bought here, if you bought in 83,
oh my goodness,
you were not in profit until 2006. So
I mean, that was me. I mean, sorta not that bad, but
you bought over here.
I bought in 2011 at the peak and held on to it the entire time.
Alex is in the green, boys.
Here we go. Hodl.
Just hodl.
Yep.
Hodl. That's funny. Hodl all the way. That is that's the way to go, guys. But yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic. You know, I'm open to the idea of us getting a spring. I don't think it's my base, but I think either way we're going to be pretty much working our way out of here by March. So
yeah, and I think my timeline is just a fraction longer. I've been saying second quarter, but you know, second maybe not. You know, so Bitcoin. I think we've talked about this. I mean, you would know Bitcoin bottomed out in November of 2022, but altcoins bottomed out in June of 2022.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, another reason, if I'm thinking that Bitcoin's bottoming out in the second quarter, another reason to be entering back in right now in small chunks.
Right. Yeah, and I don't listen. I am you know, I have really no interest in timing the bottom.
Yeah.
I just want to be in the right flavor.
Yeah.
Sounds good now. Okay, great. I just want to be in the right flavor. That's really it. And I think if you can be in the right flavor, that's fine. As far as Bitcoin on the shorter time frame, you know, what I said was we would probably back test this prior range. It looks like that's what we're doing. So, you know, we could get into the 92s would be fine. Back testing even the 50 here, all that would be fine. So that's short term, probably, you know, what we're doing here. We got a little hot with a cross. It wasn't crazy. We got to 81, but now it's more neutral. So,
I want to respond to a comment here. Everyone's timelines keep getting dragged out. We will look back and be halfway done with the bear. Not my timeline. And
yeah.
So there's two things I'll say real quick. Not my timeline at all. And there's always, we're always talking in terms of probability. If the timeline needs to be dragged out, we're going to drag it out. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Right.
But
it would be silly to say something and then just be like, well, I said this, so I have to just die with that opinion. That would be silly to do.
That's what's his name on X does. Capo. We're not going to be retards like Capo. I hope we don't get banned on TikTok now for whatever. Anyway.
It'd be silly not to change your opinions with new data. That's a foolish thing to do. But I will say for Alex's standpoint, as far as like time, like I say all the time, like do not listen to a word I say for time. Like I am not a time analyst. I am a structure analyst. I'm a probabilities. I have no idea when it's going to happen. However, I will say, Alex, you know, we've been doing these since 2023, like, or 2024, maybe.
Yeah, 2024.
So he basically had the exact same timeline. You know, there's been nuances and things have changed back and forth, but from the start, it was literally 2025 is not going to be as good as people think. 2026 is going to be way better. So that was back in 2024. Alex was saying that.
Pretty much. Comment on YouTube here. Wouldn't it just be typical of crypto doing the opposite of what everyone wants, and we surge into Q3 and Q4, everything going parabolic? I think that's your mindset right now.
Yeah, I think that's what I think is going to happen. I think
Yeah.
that people are expecting a bottom in October, and we're more likely to be at an all-time high in October.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I'm open to Bitcoin being at a new all-time high in the fourth quarter of this year. For me, I'm thinking a little bit further into the future that, like, we'll be really excited at the end of 2026 or in the fourth quarter. But 2027 is just kind of, I mean, who knows, man? But where the stars align for, like, all of our wildest dreams to come true. So
Yeah, I think we're having the narrative is Coinbase withdrew their support, but they're back at the table. So the adults are back at the dinner table, kids. Don't worry. So it's just nonsense, really. But yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Coinbase withdrew their support for the Clarity Act.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Yeah, that was a good question, though.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, literally, like that's always my bias. My intuition, I get things wrong. I am accountable literally when I get things wrong. Like, I literally shaved my beard because I was wrong. Did it live. So I'm accountable when I'm wrong, but and that's just how it goes. Like, I trust my intuition, and my bias is always the opposite of what everyone thinks. And everyone thinks right now that we're going to 50K, and everyone thinks that we're going to go down until October, and we're doing like head and shoulders.
Yeah.
Which month will mark the bottom this year? I have no idea. I'm not a time analyst. The selling climax to me is already in.
Sorry, I'm laughing at a question about an eclipse. Okay,
it's in March. March, right?
I mean, I remember an eclipse. When was that? In 2024? Yeah, 2024. I saw it. I was in Indiana for the eclipse. Nothing happened at that eclipse.
Alex and Ski both grow beards for a super bet.
Now you have fun with that.
Yeah. I'm growing my beard back. People are like, the bull market's back because my beard is back. That's what the new.
I grow my beard out until my wife cuts my hair, and then I shave my beard or trim my beard down to the length of my head.
Yeah, people are saying it's a beard market.
Not a bear market, a beard market. Okay.
Which quarter? Probably 2.
I mean, you say March, I say, yeah, 1 or 2. Okay, how about that? I mean, looking at monthly stochastic, I was paying attention to that. I was pleasantly surprised at where we are. I mean, we're well into oversold.
Right.
Give a month or 2 of bottoming out on monthly stochastic and then a crossover. So how about that?
Right. On my chart, which I use the Heikin-Ashi candles mostly.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more exaggerated, but it's basically within the same flavor, the RSI of the last 2 bottoms. I think they were in the 30s.
All right.
Let me look at that. Yeah. Let me switch I don't even have that. I say I use the Heikin-Ashi candles, and yeah, they're on. Okay. So, or am I thinking of the weekly? Let me see. Yeah, weekly chart. Yeah, this is interesting right here. I'm going to switch back to mine.
Yes.
So on the weekly chart, the lowest that we got was 24. That was the selling climax, and then we had a cross to the upside. The lowest we got was 25 back in 2018, and then before that was 26, and before that was 34. Okay, so like we're within the realm here. We got down to 31. Like, that's the same flavor as everything else. We're about to get across to the upside. If we haven't even already gotten it, actually. Yeah, we've already crossed to the upside on the weekly. So I think we're within the same realm. If you want to say like we're going to come over and roll over and have the spring, sure, like I'll buy that. But generally, you would have kind of a bullish divergence, anyways. Even if that were to happen, this is probably going to be the lowest that we go on RSI, not price, but on RSI. This is probably as low as we go here. So, yeah, that's monthly. I mean, 53. Like, not a lot to be said there. But yeah, I think that this is way yeah, and even on the monthly chart, like we're still fully bullish here. We haven't even gotten below the 20 EMA on the monthly. Like we just back tested that. Realistically, this is just a higher low.
Yeah.
You know, if you zoom out super far, we'll do the weekly.
I mean, the bears can make a case that, oh, look at how much further we have to go down. Like, all right, like, we'll see.
But realistically, this is just a higher low here. Like, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't even broken structure here. Anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I think it's not going to be nearly as bad as what people think. We have to clear the 702, which is about 112, to be like fully bullish.
Yes.
I think, because I am going to be a bit cautious around the 618.
Oh yeah.
For sure. So I think we got to clear about 112 to be like, okay, yeah, that was it.
That's something that I've also drawn on some of my charts, is just like, all right, the 200-day is a huge one for me, because I remember in 2022 just being like, oh man, we might actually be back, and then nope, we just got rejected right at the 200-day. But then after that, the 618 and 702 are a little bit higher than that, and get over the 702, and all right, we're back on. And not only are we back on, but we're back on in a big way. Because like, what?
Sorry, go ahead. I was just reading a question.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, I just think altcoins have been suppressed for so long, and we're no longer in a period of quantitative tightening, and liquidity is increasing that.
Right.
So
question is, will the banks get power to screw us? I would argue that's what Binance did. Like past tense, it already happened. You already got screwed. So yeah, that's, to me, that already happened. Binance, Coinbase, those are banks. They hold crypto, but those are banks.
Yeah. No, I have nothing to add.
Yeah, those are banks. Do you think VeChain will get to 8 cents this year? Yes. I like a lot of the legacy coins, Link, VeChain, ADA. I've made videos about this, but like they have the same structure as Silver. And I don't want to be hyperbolic here.
Yeah.
But it's just true. They just have the same structure. And I don't care who that offends. Like, I'm sorry. I'm bullish.
Yeah, it's just, I went through every coin in my TradingView account yesterday, and I just removed the ones that just like look like they're dying. The ones that are just bleeding to death, going straight down. But the ones I kept, like Will, every time we go live, he asks me about my thoughts on Crow. Crypto.com is fine. It's one that I kept in my TradingView. Structurally, I'm sure that you would look at the Crow chart and say, yeah, this looks a lot like Silver. I want the ones that, they're holding their previous bear market bottoms right now. And VeChain's a little bit below its previous bear market bottom, but I'm not throwing in the towel on VeChain at all.
No. But yeah, I mean, like, just tell me that's not, this is the fractal from Silver, from when Alex bought until we broke out. So that's the only difference is the chop here at the SOS. Silver is more stable than a volatile crypto, but everything else is, I mean, it's about as clean as you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, with VeChain specifically, I think we lost this support here, but I don't mind it with the the liquidation. We basically grueled our way
Yeah.
down to there, and it filled that wick out. On the 5 hour, we've started to flip bullish. Now it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's got to reclaim this level. That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yes, I kept Uniswap foregone.
Yeah, so that's I think a lot of coins are looking like that as the Russell is breaking out, and I just yeah, I shouldn't have sold my Dash, I guess, because it's ripping now, guys.
Yeah, there was a question about Dash. I don't know, man. I mean, like I'm sure if you were to draw a fib from that first peak in 2025 to the most recent spike, that would give me some causes for concern with Dash at the moment.
That's a lot of volume.
That is a lot of volume. So I'd wait. I'd definitely be interested in Dash at some point.
I bought over here.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think I bought at $1,500. So yeah, that one was not good. That was probably my worst one ever, actually.
Yeah, that was your silver, the equivalent of silver.
Yeah, that was the time that I FOMO'd at the top.
I'm gonna turn on.
So
sorry, here's my game plan with Dash right now, because I mean you point out that volume and it's like you can't ignore that. I'm setting an alert around $50.
That's on the 3-day too.
Yeah.
Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, on the daily, that's even more. That's a lot of volume. Let's look on the weekly. Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. That's almost kind of weird how much volume that's gotten. The price has definitely moved, but it's not. I don't even know what the tokenomics on Dash are.
I think it's one of those dinosaurs with a fully diluted valuation or fully diluted supply, but I'm not sure either.
Like when I search Dash, DoorDash comes up on crypto. Like what in the world?
Yeah.
Like that's not a good look, Dash. You're competing with the food industry now too. Market cap 1.14, FDV is 1.7, so a little bit.
Okay.
And then when we look at the market cap versus price, I don't see a significant. Yeah, I don't see a significant like dumpage of supply here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking.
Let me. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to answer a question here. Is LCX one of those that are completely dead? I still have the chart on my trading view.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing with LCX is I'm not surprised at all that it's at 5 cents, given what the last bear market bottom, and it was 3 cents or so. No, actually it was lower than that. It was 2 cents. So LCX did very well from its bear market bottom to its peak. And there's a lot of cryptocurrencies that you could see that did very well. A lot of those AI cryptos, those are ones that I'm not touching yet, because they're still much higher than their previous bear market bottoms. So we can see those come down and find some support much lower than where they are right now.
Yeah. I feel fine with LCX.
Yeah.
Dynex has been waking up. I'm pretty sure that's been like moving like for real. Actually, that was one that was like it was already in a bear market when everything else is still going. So yeah, this is doing pretty good here. We're pretty close to putting in a little high here. If we can put in this higher high, be pretty good here. But yeah, this was like already in a perpetual downtrend while everything else is just ripping. So it's like it went into distribution. We had our big downtrend here. We've broken sideways out of it, and then we've been putting in higher highs and higher lows here.
Yeah.
Flipped bullish on top of the 200 on the daily. And then starting to flip bullish on the daily. Not fully bullish. It is fully bullish on the 5 hour. But yeah, we've already had 3 crosses. 2 crosses to the upside here. So I would say 2 out of 6 bullish on the daily, with currently 2 higher highs, perhaps getting our third. I would say getting above 9 cents would be the third higher high and a full flip bullish. So yeah, this one's been doing pretty well. This is one that I brought to you guys way too early, though.
Yeah.
I will say that one was, yeah, it was the same thing, like where you came down violently. You kind of chopped here. You went up to the 200, and then you lost the floor. Almost the same as Bitcoin in 2021. Same thing.
Well, I'm glad I didn't listen to you until after it bottomed out.
Yeah. It's all good. Like, I think, can it get above the 236? Yeah, I think so. Like, there's not crazy tokenomics on this one.
Someone's asking if loopering is dead. It's still on my trading view, but man, it's kind of depressing to me.
he's thinking about dropping.
Yeah.
I think it'll at least get to the 0.5 though. 69 cents.
Loopring?
No. Dynex.
Hey, that sounds great. Let's do it.
And we'll be playing the Pump It Up song. All right. What do you think, Alex? I think this is a decent stop.
Yeah. Busy day.
Saying.
But hey, I won't DM you. Neither will Ski.
Nope. Do not redeem.
Yep. Go Hoosiers. I lived in Bloomington for a little bit, Indiana. So go Hoosiers. Beat Miami.
Yeah. Is that today?
It's on Monday.
Monday. Okay. Yeah, I'm just rooting for the Big Ten. So
there we go.
I'm tired of the SEC's reign. I think it's funny that the second you're allowed to legally pay players, they suck.
Yeah,
now.
They start sucking because everyone's paying now.
I mean, the second, like NIL era. Okay. Last thing, NIL era. The SEC has not even made it to the championship. So
yeah, Saban resigns. He's like, all right, peace out. I had a good run.
Yeah. It just means more. I'm tired of hearing that.
It means more. Yeah. How do the SEC teams do? The 5 SEC teams, they beat each other in Tulane in the college football playoff.
Josh is a Bama fan. He says, "Easy, fellas."
All right, that's the most animated we've gotten during this live stream.
Yeah, so I'm here for it. I'm rooting for the Big Ten. Yeah, I'm tired of the SEC's reign. They kicked our butts for 20 years, but put the VHS away. A new era is here, and you're gonna have to get used to eating scraps, because that's what we had to do for 20 years.
Yes, but we won't message you.
No. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless.